Imagine spending about 2 decades data mining all this material that's been translated into English from German and French and Arabic, Aramaic, and then also translated into English from the ancient cuneiform, the Akkadian, the Amorite syllabaries, all this data that we're compiling in the past 200 years coming from so divergent sources. Imagine spending 2 decades with nothing else to do because you're trapped in a prison cell. And my mind is on fire, but I can only use my body for an hour a day. I go to the rec yard, I run myself to death until it's time to come back in. It reignites my mind again. So the first half of the day, I drink coffee, I read, I data mine, I take notes from everything that I'm reading. I'm recording the titles, the authors, the date of publication. My bibliography is very extensive. So I spent years going through those, reading them, and I find 2 major threads that are inexplicable. They are so supported with so much bibliographic citations. These chronological timelines are amazing. One of them is like a heartbeat of the world. It's based off the fine structure constant. It is 138 years. Every 138 years, our world goes through either soft or hard resets. Now, a soft reset is when there's editing done in our reality and strange things occur, but they're not really noticeable until in retrospect. When people get to talking 10, 20 years later and say, hey man, do you remember such and such? And a whole body of individuals don't have a clue what you're talking about. But there are some people who do remember exactly what you're talking about. These soft edits, they're all throughout history and they happen every 138 years, like something is governing over reality and making sure some informations maintain some type of integrity in our infrastructure, and we remember and carry that information in the future. But other information, other knowledges are very slick, just edited out. Now, this is a soft reset. Hard resets are major cataclysmic geographic changes, but also socio-political changes, massive changes that erupt, like in 1764 and in 1902. Those are the last 2 138-year periods. In 1764 began a massive demographic change throughout Europe and the Western world, which was the sudden fall and collapse of almost all the monarchies and the sudden birth and start of all the democracies and republics in all the European countries started in 1764. That's when the Patriot movement started, 1764, Boston Tea Party, and the United States began its trek toward independence from events that stemmed in 1764. But these soft resets are like that. They're easily detectable fundamental changes. And in 1902, we had hundreds of companies appear out of nowhere. Scores of inventions like air conditioning, all kinds of things that suddenly appeared all together in one single year, 1902, that were all released into the public, as if all this material has been somewhere else sequestered. And then for some reason, somebody in 1902 decided to release it all into the public sector. So imagine this 138 years going back 58 centuries, so well documented that I can release video after video, 61 videos so far on the Phoenix phenomenon. And the next period of the next time is May of 2040. So imagine being able to construct the history of the world in 138-year intervals. And so we can naturally project the next one's going to be 2040. But at the same token, this did not answer for some other enigmas that are in the historical record. They defy explanation. And I found a 792-year periodicity of another phenomenon, and it's evil. It is absolutely cataclysmic. There's nothing good about it every time it appeared. It first appears in the sky and it wreaks destruction all over the world. And it's every 792 years. Now, the history of the world in 792-year segments is also very interesting. I wrote a book called Chronicon, 510 pages, where I put both of these together, and it basically answers for most of the mysteries and cataclysms and resets and the rise and fall of empires, civilizations throughout recorded history. That's in Chronicon. But it shows that for the first time in recorded history, both of these phenomena are going to happen almost at the exact same time. This right here completely supports what we have around the world in the writings of prophecy. in the writings of the Apocalypse, in the Zoroastrian glimpses of the future, in the book of Revelation. This is exactly what we have in Revelation, with back-to-back cataclysms occurring, one in the seven seals and one in the seven thunders. Now, it's exactly what we see in the Mayan prophecies concerning the end of the Mayan long count, which is 2046. The Mayan long count is 1,872,000 days divided in 13 Bactans. Each Bactan is 144,000 days. So the end of the Mayan long count would be November 2046, which is interesting because the Nemesis X object, this object that appears every 792 years that has nothing to do with the Phoenix phenomenon, is also going to be here in November of 2046. 2046 is the first year of a whole new dynamic.
We're more dedicated than ever to provide authentic, truthful, and uncensored information and inspiration. That's why we created the Inspired community on the free speech platform Locals. There's no censorship, a free flow of information, and it's more personal and intimate. And you can join us as a free member or a paid supporter. Please visit inspired.locals.com and join us today.